What's the difference between a sporting purpose shotgun and a special purpose shotgun? In all truth, there isn't one. But that didn't stop Italian firearms manufacturer Franchi from trying to argue that there was, with their legendary SPAS-12 dual-mode shotgun. Developed in the late 1970s, the SPAS-12 rose to prominence not in the hands of conventional military or police units, or even in the hands of skilled civilian marksmen, but through a blockbuster movie and an absolutely terrifying cyborg hunter. In use with real-world armed forces such as American SWAT teams, the French GIGN counter-terror unit, and Malaysia's national security forces, the Italian icon has had a lengthy and somewhat successful history, despite a crushing piece of legislation dramatically reducing the weapon's sales. Weighing in at a relatively hefty 9.7 pounds and measuring 32.5 inches long with the instantly recognizable stock folded, the SPAS-12 is capable of firing all manner of 12-gauge shotgun shells, but Franchi recommends magnum loads for the best operation. Effective at varying distances depending on the shell type, the SPAS feeds from an internal 5 to 8 round tube and fires its ammunition at varying speeds, again depending on the ammunition. Luigi Franchi S.p.A. was founded as a family firearms business by Luigi Franchi in 1868, making it one of the world's oldest operational gun makers, with the company beginning its life in Brescia, Italy. This area in Italy was, at the time, a rapidly growing industrial area of the Italian heartland, with a strong mining industry that supported the ever-increasing manufacturing sector. This era in firearms history is also notable for a number of improvements to weapons technology, such as the inventions of the first machine gun and the transition from breech and muzzle loading weapons using black powder to repeating firearms with better ammunition and smokeless powder. Franchi's relative financial security due to its access to the ore mining industry in Brescia gave the company flexibility to experiment and innovate with their firearms designs during this revolutionary period. Franchi would focus more on creating higher quality, craftsman-made weapons than appealing to a wider market in their first nearly 90 years of operations, and sought to produce mainly hunting and sporting guns. This would change in the mid-1950s after Franchi had survived both world wars, and when the company looked instead to the growing Cold War military market, producing a number of automatic weapons during this time intended for military adoption, these being the LF-57 submachine gun and LF-58 and 59 automatic rifles, the LF-59 being very visually similar to the then recently released and wildly successful FN-FAL. Whilst not as successful as the likes of FN, Colt, or H&K in securing military contracts in the latter half of the 20th century, the Italian manufacturer still gained a reputation among NATO members for rugged and reliable rifles and shotguns, the most important of these being the Franchi Model 500. Franchi, since its founding, has maintained a high level of secrecy when it comes to the development of their various firearms, and unfortunately the SPAS-12 is no different. What we do know is that the SPAS-12 began life as a modified Franchi Model 500, with extensive changes to the weapon's operation in order to meet the demands of the military and police markets for folding stocks on their shotguns. Their initial experiments on the base design of the Franchi 500 resulted in the creation of the Special Purpose Automatic Shotgun, or SPAS-11, in the mid-1970s. This shotgun included a feature that would become a staple of how the SPAS-12 is understood in the public consciousness: its dual mode of operation, the weapon being capable of firing using both a short-stroke gas piston-operated semi-automatic operation and pump action without any modifications to the weapon itself. The SPAS-11, adorned with wooden furniture, didn't last too long, and in 1979 would be replaced by the all-black metallic SPAS-12, complete with its folding stock and optional unique hook brace to grant greater stability while firing. The weapon's sales were, well, average for its first few years in production, but the 1984 release of James Cameron's sci-fi horror thriller classic The Terminator, along with its 1991 sequel, would catapult the weapon into the public fascination. Its futuristic design and features making it an ideal fit for such a movie, and its expansive filmography has made the SPAS essentially the shotgun equivalent to the Desert Eagle handgun, popular and iconic in media, but less favored in actual military or police operations. Nonetheless, civilian interest and demand for the SPAS-12 increased, especially in the United States, where they had been imported beginning in 1983. Unfortunately for Franchi, tightening restrictions on firearms imports in the United States in the late 1980s meant that the company had to market the shotgun less as a military weapon and more as a civilian sporting shotgun to be able to keep selling the weapon to Americans, and would do so by changing its name from Special Purpose Automatic Shotgun to Sporting Purpose Automatic Shotgun, along with replacing the folding stock with a fixed one. As you might have guessed, this didn't do much to satisfy the American government, and by 1994, with the passing of the federal assault weapon ban, Franchi could no longer export the weapon to the United States, and a number of other nations had passed similar legislation preventing the importation of so-called assault weapons such as the SPAS-12, with Franchi stopping production of the weapon in 2000, 4 years before the American ban would expire. The Franchi SPAS-12, while not having an extensive catalogue of distinct variants, does still have a few variants of note. The SPAS-12 has an incredibly rare short-barreled version, being decreased from 21 inches to 18 inches, and was mainly distributed in France. After the change of the weapon's name to the Sporting Purpose Automatic Shotgun in 1990, Franchi would update the weapon to better reflect its supposed sporting application, removing the folding metal stock and replacing it with a fixed polymer stock. Along with these, some versions of the SPAS-12 include the hook brace on the folding stock, while others do not, and again, it can be added at any time. The two distinctly named variants of the SPAS, the LAW-12 and the SAS-12, were semi-automatic and pump-action-only versions respectively, and all of the variants of the SPAS have interchangeable parts to some extent. In the nearly 50 years since the SPAS-12 entered production, the weapon has captured more the imagination of moviegoers and video game audiences than it has the attention of the world's armed forces. Its formidable on-screen presence and legendary reputation it's gained from heavy media representation greatly overshadows the fundamental technical issues with the weapon itself. The SPAS is heavy, at least when compared to its contemporaries such as the Benelli M4 or Mossberg 500. The safety mechanism is also very fragile. There are numerous sharp edges on the folding stock. The pump action is often stiff. It can also be difficult to reload due to its old-fashioned bolt release, and it's often unreliable in semi-automatic operation. It's that final flaw that has driven much of the SPAS-12's depictions in media over its time in Hollywood's arsenal, many a SPAS-12 in movies and video games being pump action only, although this operation is intended for lower pressured and less than lethal ammunition. Despite the weapon's legendary status, its actual production numbers are nothing to marvel at, with just 37,000 SPAS-12s produced before Franchi ceased making them in 2000, demonstrating almost perfectly how Hollywood stardom doesn't always guarantee a weapon's success. But then again, the firearms legislation of the time didn't do much to help the shotgun sales. After ending SPAS-12 production, Franchi shifted its focus to the SPAS-12's younger brother, the SPAS-15, a magazine-fed, dual-mode operation shotgun in production from 1986 until 2005. Following the conclusion of SPAS-15 production, Franchi has remained more focused on the civilian firearms market, producing a number of shotgun and rifle models for various civilian applications. But in the face of all this, the SPAS-12's reputation persists, remaining a favorite in the arsenals of the few lucky enough to get their hands on one, and still receiving heavy fictional representation to this day. An intimidating and formidable exterior, but hiding a multitude of flaws underneath, the SPAS-12 is possibly the most legendary shotgun in media, and despite its limited real-world usage, is certainly one of the world's most recognizable firearms. Thank you so very much for watching these videos. Please like and subscribe and comment below what you'd like to see me cover next.